Hello, Chicago. Rome J here, cultural correspondent for The Tribe and host of Tribe TV show, Real Chicago. If it's your first time joining us for Real Chicago, welcome to the show. And thank you to everyone who caught the first episode of Real Chicago last Thursday. We hope you enjoyed it. I most definitely did. Now, for those that don't know, Tribe TV is our take on TV news. We strive to tell you compelling stories about Black Chicago. There's no Tribe TV without you. This show is about Black Chicagoans reshaping and reclaiming our narrative. We want to hear from you, so make sure to hit us up anytime at connect@thetribe.com to get in tune with the Tribe. With that being said, it's time for the Rome James Report, a rundown of this week's news headlines in the arts and entertainment world. Senator Kamala Harris is on the 2020 election ticket. Senator Joe Biden selected Harris as his running mate in his presidential quest for the White House. Kamala is the first Black woman and first person of Indian descent to appear on a major party ballot, according to the New York Times. This week's biggest winner, however, according to social media, is Maya Rudolph, a comedian and actress who impersonated Harris during Saturday Night Live's funny take on Democratic primaries. Maya was recently nominated for an Emmy for a portrayal of Harris. Looks like Maya will be booked and busy. The actress is on board for making a return to SNL as VP nominee Kamala Harris. Oh, and if you don't know, Maya is the daughter of Minnie Riperton, a Chicago legend known for a high register on songs such as Lovin' You, Inside My Love, and Memory Lane. Meanwhile, y'all's favorite rapper Kanye West recently met with President Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor, Jared Kushner, in Colorado, according to the New York Times. That's all I'll say about that. Black folks love arguing about which Harold's Chicken location is the best in the city. For many, Harold's on 87th and the Dan Ryan is the best, hands down. Sadly, we learned this week that the 87th Street location has closed permanently after nearly 30 years, according to a Black Club Chicago article. You can still get your Harold's fixed, though, so there's no need to worry. The location's owner, Percy Billings, said Harold's Chicken Express is still in business. After a dispute with the shopping center's management company, Percy moved his Harold's across the expressway to 8653 South State Street. Chance the Rapper is continuing his commitment to helping Chicago youth. Last Thursday, the rapper's charity Social Works donated 45,000 masks to the Chicago Park District. According to a press release, all those masks are for staff and children attending day camps at parks across the city this summer for protection against the coronavirus. The Park District is vital for the city of Chicago. It provides communities and their residents with various forms of wellness, Social Works Executive Director Justin Cunningham said in a written statement. He added, it's important to assist organizations that provide outlets for youth recreation and exploration in a safe manner. Social Works just turned 4 years old this month. The nonprofit aims to empower youth through the arts, education, and civic engagement. Next, the 9th annual Blackstar Film Festival is going virtual next week. The festival is a celebration of the visual and storytelling traditions of the African diaspora and other communities of color. Films in the festival were created by Black, Brown, and Indigenous people from around the world. Unapologetic, a documentary that centers young Black women and femme organizers in Chicago following the death of Rekia Boyd, is one of the films that will be featured in the Blackstar Film Festival. The festival will be held virtually this year and kicks off on Tuesday, August 19th at 12 p.m. Eastern. Now, for more details, you guys can go ahead and visit www.blackstarfest.org. Ashley O'Shea, the director and producer of Unapologetic, and the Tribe's very own Morgan Elise Johnson, who produced the documentary alongside O'Shea, will join us later to tell us more about Unapologetic. Stick around for that convo. XXL Magazine dropped its 2020 freshman class list this week that features not one, but two Chicago rappers. Polo G and Cowboy are a part of the magazine's new class of rappers, joining the ranks of other Chicago XXL freshman class graduates, such as Chief Keef, Lupe Fiasco, Chance the Rapper, Lil Baby, Vic Mensa, Tink, and of course, G Herbo. Polo G's debut album, Die a Legend, is certified platinum, peaking at number 6 on the US Billboard 200, and it also includes hit single Pop Out, which is certified quadruple platinum for combined sales and streaming numbers of over 4 million copies. Cowboy is widely known for his 2018 smash hit Envy Me, which was certified triple platinum. XXL Magazine has been releasing its annually anticipated freshman class list since 2007. It usually features 10 up-and-coming rappers and singers in hip-hop, many of which have gone on to become big names in music like J. Cole, Big Sean, Kendrick Lamar, and Future. Now, last but not least, the Rink, a roller skating venue in Chatham, holds a special place in the hearts of many Black Chicagoans. For millennials, the Rink was the spot for weekend skating and juke parties in the 2000s, and it also is where the JB or James Brown style of roller skating was popularized. Recently, Nathaniel Simpson, one of the Rink's founding members, passed away, according to a post from the Rink's Facebook page. Simpson and his partner, Carmen Clark, operated the Rink for 45 years before they sold it in 2019. A public viewing for Simpson will be held on Friday, August 21st from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Cage Memorial Chapel. For more information, please visit the Rink's Facebook page. We're living in unprecedented times. How many times have y'all heard that over the last 5 months, and are you tired of hearing it yet? Nonetheless, I think we can all agree that we are adapting and finding a new and safe way to socialize. Chicago creatives and event planners have stepped up to this challenge in a major way. Next weekend marks the city's first large-scale event since the March 21st shutdown due to the coronavirus pandemic, The socially distanced drive-in festival will be held at Soldier Field on Saturday, August 22nd. The event was organized by Black Chicago-based promoters Afro Track, Civilized Lifestyle, and Sigma Chris. The concert has Lloyd locked in as their headliner and will feature other artists such as Pleasure P, Pretty Ricky, Bob Valentino, and Chicago's very own Do or Die. Here to tell us more about the Drive-In Fest is Mike Orie, event manager, curator, and founder of Afro Track, an event production company with offices in Chicago, Washington, D.C., and New York City. Thank you so much for your time, Mike.
What's going on, Rob? How's everything?
What's going on, Mike? Thank you for joining us. Welcome to We Real Chicago. It's a pleasure to have you, man. I would say thanks for showing up, but I'll say thanks for logging in. I
appreciate it. You know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So just straight off the cuff, Mike, has this ever been done before?
You know, I've seen the model done in a couple other cities, you know, like Atlanta, Houston. Black Chicago, this hasn't been done before that I'm aware of, particularly targeting the Black community in Chicago. To my understanding, we are the first Black promoters. There's a team of 5 Black men leading this to do this at Soldier Field. So I think we are the first Black group in Chicago to do this in the city of Chicago, within the city limits. So yeah.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned Soldier Field. Can I just jump to how did you pick Soldier Field? What was the process like, Mike? Just in developing this drive-in festival, and especially when choosing a venue, how did you guys come up with Soldier Field?
Yeah. You know, definitely shout out to my partners, Civilized Lifestyle and Sigma Chris. We all collectively did an event during All-Star Weekend. We did an event called Stadium Status. So when it came to everything kind of being shut down in the city, we started to look at what are some creative ways that we can both, you know, keep our city entertained, but then also think of ways that we can potentially generate revenue for ourselves. So Soldier Field, after we established such a great partnership during All-Star Weekend, and we just thought it would be a good opportunity to kind of see what it was like to do something on the parking lot. But in terms of the progress, we're literally building everything from scratch. So, you know, everything from, you know, permits to getting the stage built, to booking the artists and the talent, to just like the stage layout. So it's both an exciting and it's been a journey. You know, it's been a journey to piece everything together. Definitely a learning process. But you know, my partners and I were certainly excited, you know, for the outcome of this event and for everybody to come together next weekend.
Most definitely, Mike. So Soldier Field. I'm just thinking, so where in Soldier Field will the concert take place, Mike?
Sure. So we're going to be located in the South Lot. If you've ever attended the Chicago Football Classic where the tailgate normally happens, we're using that same exact lot. We'll have 3 40-foot screens. We'll also have a huge, massive stage. You'll be able to access the audio from your car, but we also have like a full sound system to get the full experience. I don't know if I'm kind of like jumping ahead, but people will kind of get the opportunity to socially distance, but then still have a great experience. So guests are allowed to have 2 lawn chairs per car to sit directly in front of their vehicle. If you're comfortable, you can also sit on top of your car. Or the other option, if like you have an SUV or a truck, you can sort of reverse back into the parking spot and you can sit in the back of your SUV as well as the lawn chair. So we're really excited for it.
Wonderful. So you mentioned that each couple or each car is allotted two lawn chairs, basically. But what other guidelines are you guys kind of implementing to ensure that people are going to be safe, Mike?
Sure, certainly. So, first and foremost, we're utilizing every other parking spot. So we're not parking cars directly next to each other. So we're going to ensure that there's at least 6 to 8 feet between each vehicle. That's first and foremost. We have a full security staff as well as regular staff just to kind of ensure that people are staying and adhering within those guidelines. We'll also have restrooms, food trucks, and food that people will be allowed to access, but they'll be able to go directly to these locations and they don't have to go directly back to their car. So we're also making sure that people aren't lingering and just walking around to make sure that everybody is safe and secure during the experience.
Dope. Now, Mike, you locked in like a throwback playlist here, and it is going to be awesome. Can you talk about what was the process of locking in these artists? Why did you pick these specific artists? Chicago's very own Do or Die, R.I.P. Johnny P. What was it like trying to book these specific artists, and why did you pick these specific artists, Mike, please?
Well, I got to shout out my team, again, Civilized Lifestyle, Sigma Chris. We sort of had the idea, we knew that we initially wanted to do a primarily an R&B driven night. And so we thought about just some of the cancellations of the tours and things like that, specifically the Millennium Tour, as well as some other, concerts and things that were supposed to happen. So we wanted an opportunity. It'd been I would say honestly, a rough summer for a lot of us in terms of honestly just being cooped in the house. So we thought about the idea of how do you create an opportunity for people to relive and experience it? Maybe they revisited 10 years ago, for 20 years ago, early 2000s. So we kind of started with Lloyd, just the nostalgia of Lloyd, thinking of him and working with him. My partners had worked with Lloyd previously. So it was sort of like rekindling the relationship with Lloyd. Then from there, we added on Bobby V. And Bobby V's manager happened to also manage Pleasure P. So then that conversation came about. And then Do or Die, we wanted to make sure that while we could think of someone from Chicago who kind of fit within that realm of nostalgic music. And we wanted to make sure that we paid homage to Chicago with Do or Die. So that was it. We kind of sort of pieced everything together.
No doubt. And what has the response been like from the public? Are they feeling it?
Yeah. We had, a couple of questions as usual about, safety precautions and stuff like that. So we've definitely put some time and a lot of energy into that. But, people are really excited, definitely about the full lineup. But I've heard a lot of people from Chicago like, man, Do or Die. I haven't seen them in ages. I'm looking forward to seeing them. So really excited, getting a lot of great responses. Ticket sales are doing well. So we're really excited for it.
Awesome. Ticket sales are going well. I got to ask you, since we're just on the subject of music, Mike, I'm a music guy. Who are you looking forward to seeing the most? I mean, I know you do these type of events all the time. Who on the lineup are you excited to see?
I think if I had, I can pick 2, right? I'm really excited for Lloyd and I'm really excited for Do or Die specifically. Honestly, like, when you're listening to music and you relive artists that you kind of, haven't had a chance to even think about, like, man, like back when like the cassette tape era and stuff like that, or like CD era, you're like, man, I'm actually bringing them here to the city of Chicago to be on stage to perform. So definitely really excited for Lloyd. He's our headliner, and also Do or Die. It's an honor. I'm originally from St. Louis, but it's an honor to be in Chicago and to kind of bring out a Chicago legend to perform on stage. So
Awesome. Awesome. And I hate to keep switching gears, Mike. Try and keep up with me. Going back to kind of guidelines with COVID being around and everything, like will concessions be open to the public? Will we be able to bring our own food? Kind of what's the deal with
Yeah,
that?
so concessions are open. We'll have a concession stand. Again, very limited. So we have staff that are specifically focused on making sure, making sure that people aren't lingering, that they're keeping that appropriate distance between each other. We're not going to have like a crazy line, but we are going to allow people to go get their food and then go directly back to their vehicles. But again, we'll have staff that'll be there specifically focusing on making sure that people are adhering to the guidelines, and even more specifically, as people are waiting to get to grab their food. So that's something we're paying very much attention to. We've also took a look at a couple of other models and different drive-in movies that are happening just to kind of assess what they're doing, what works and what hasn't worked. And we're taking all the information and compiling it to make sure everything can go as smooth as possible.
Most definitely. And Mike, it looks like you've kind of figured out where you're going to go now during COVID, because, you know, a lot of people are still confused. Kind of seems like you found your lane. Can you kind of speak on just how has COVID impacted you as an event manager? And, you know, are things looking up? They look like they're kind of looking up now. Can you just speak towards that, please?
You know, I'd be lying if I say it wasn't a challenge. You know, it took some time to think about how we can be innovative. I've been hesitant to do, you know, a little bit more traditional events. You know, might try some things going back into the fall. The drive-in concert was an opportunity for us to figure out how to, you know, we're not getting any festivals this summer. We're not getting any major concerts. So we had to be real innovative. I think that this is going to be something that's going to be continuing to happen for the next year at least, in terms of how we look at entertainment, especially live music. But it's definitely certainly impacted me. Specifically, I had, you know, the concerts, I've had a bunch of concerts that have been just postponed until next year. It's hard for us to even determine a new date because we have no idea when venues will go back to normal. We have no idea, honestly, what venues will survive this pandemic and what's going on. It's certainly been a challenge, and we're all just trying to figure out how we can make it through and pull through this and stay positive.
Most definitely. One way you can do so is by coming on the show every time you have an event to promote. Mike Orie, everybody. Mike, thank you so much for coming on, brother. Hey, look, if there's a certain cultural correspondent who loves Do or Die, if there's any extra backstage passes, I'll try to my car right back there for you, Mike, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna got you. I'll make sure you take care of.
Man, I appreciate you. We'll do some cool coverage if you can make that happen, Mike. Everybody, Mike, thanks so much for being on the show, brother.
No problem. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. You guys make sure to visit the scene at thetribe.com to see what's happening at all times in Chicago. Representation matters. We know this. Studies have proven this. It is a fact. It is affirming to see your full and accurate self represented in the media, film, and TV. For far too long, the stories of marginalized people have gone unnoticed or been misrepresented by the mainstream. Today, the paradigm is shifting, and Black film and LGBTQ identifying film and TV creators are launching platforms where they can share and produce their work on their own terms without the permission of gatekeepers. Here to talk more about intersectional storytelling and their new show is Elijah McKinnon, artist, activist, abolitionist, co-founder, and executive director of Open Television. Open Television is a platform for intersectional artists to create and produce original series, video, art, and short films. Welcome, Elijah. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Hi, greetings.
Awesome. So, Elijah, for everyone who would just love to learn about OTV, I would love to learn when did you launch it, and can you tell us about what inspired you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I like to think of Open Television as a platform, and when I describe it, I like to think specifically like I'm describing it to a toddler. So Open Television really is a platform for intersectional stories to flourish and thrive in community with people who need them most. And, you know, intersectional stories are so special, right? Just like Black skin is special, and just like the unique experiences within our bodies are so special. And open television really creates an opportunity for people within various different identities to have space to tell their story on their own terms.
Wonderful. Wow. And so I'd like to shift and talk about Good Enough, a new show on OTV that was created and written by you. Can you walk us through how you developed this show?
Yeah, this show is really, really special to my heart. I think, you know, open television has been around since 2015, and we have been developing intersectional pilots, series, and video art. And Good Enough really came out of my advocacy work, specifically within the LGBTQ plus community, and really looking at the ways in which HIV and sexual health, I think, plays a big role in creating barriers to health equity. And so through a myriad of different types of connections and resources and long nights, I was commissioned by a team of researchers out of Duke University and the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, to create this series that really paints a portrait of chosen family and queer people and messiness and Chicago. And it really is a love note to all of the people in my life as a queer person that has chosen me to be in their family and continues to do so. And, you know, a lot of people in the show are, you know, really, really dear friends and family members of mine. And I really love the opportunity to create spaces for them to thrive and cultivate joy.
Wow, that's awesome. So, Elijah, we actually have a quick clip. Let's go look at the trailer. Let's take a look at the trailer right now for Good Enough.
Yeah.
Cheers to me.
Cheers to exclusive.
Exclusivity.
Exclusivity. What we toasting to, y'all? What's good? I'm back.
Excuse me, why did you tell Darling that you were with me? I was texting you from the studio all day about the mix for the campaign.
You know I'm a mess with days and texting. I be everywhere doing the most.
One thing they don't tell you in Being Queer 101 is that chosen family is messy as fuck.
Good enough.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So let's get into the characters. You actually said a lot of the characters are friends and actual family members of yours. We wanted to know over here at the Tribe if the characters on the show were similar to the people in your real life. Is your character similar to who you are in real life? Please.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very messy. I think what I wanted to do, I'm really inspired by Afro-surrealism and falling in and outside of reality. And so with these characters, what I wanted to do is create this world where they could exist as extensions of themselves. So, you know, I worked with everyone in the series to create their roles and really kind of just gave them a prompt. You know, like, this is a version of yourself, and what are some things that you want to aspire to? What are some spaces and territories that you want to reach? And I think what's really beautiful about this series, and obviously I'm a little biased because I created it, wrote it, starred it, and directed it because I'm an international pop star. But I think what really is authentic about the story is the nuance. I think that those are the important things that get left out when we're talking about representation. I think that, you know, for me, what's important when I think about representation is accurate representation. It's not important if we're, you know, on these shows and we're not showcasing our full selves, right? And bringing our messiness, our joy, our hopes, our dreams without all of the other things that got us there. So a lot of the characters are extensions of themselves. And if you watch some of the PSAs on the website, you'll see that there's a little introduction of people being like, hi, I'm blank name of the character, and I play this person in real life, because I think that at the end of the day, we're all playing some type of role, and we all have a contribution to make within that role.
Wonderful. Last but not least, Elijah, without giving away the first season, just kind of tell us, what can viewers expect? Are there anything that you're really looking forward to, or just give us a small sneak peek? What can viewers expect in this first season?
Just Black people, Black queer people, Black trans people, Black women, Black femmes just getting their full lives. I think what I love so much about these characters is that not only are they nuanced, they're just so rich in texture. And so you can really just expect all of these characters to show up 175% of the time. And I think navigate through some really difficult things that are often taboo, such as mental health, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and things that I think really impact the Black LGBTQ plus community in ways that I think we need to be talking about.
Well said. Thank you, Elijah. Now I'd like to welcome two more guests to the panel to discuss a new documentary film, Unapologetic. Ashley O'Shea is the director and producer of Unapologetic. Ashley's work focuses on illuminating marginalized voices. She's produced work for national brands, including Lifetime, Ford Motor Company, Boost Mobile, KQED, and Martin's. And Morgan Elise Johnson is also an unapologetic producer, filmmaker, visionary, and co-founder of The Tribe. Welcome to Be Real Chicago, ladies.
Hello.
Hey.
Awesome. So, Ashley, can you tell us about Unapologetic? Why was this story necessary to tell?
Yeah, so I had just returned to Chicago following undergrad in the fall of 2015, right around the time that a lot of young Black folks were organizing around the police killing of 22-year-old Rekia Boyd. And I just went to attend a Chicago Police Board hearing where, residents have a direct contact with this so-called equitable board. And within that space, found not only that folks were asking really important questions, but eventually the organizers in the space shut the entire meeting down. And it was so energizing. The voices in that space weren't your typical religious leaders or your male leaders. They were young Black women and femme voices. And the energy in that moment, I had never seen a comprehensive media piece that focused on the ways in which they were centering their leadership. And so I just decided to do it, I guess.
That's awesome. Morgan, can you tell us how you became a part of the film and why, please?
Well, I was raised up in the Chicago film community through Cartemquin Films, their internship program. And so was Ashley. This film has been connected to their internship program, their Voices in Docs program. And so Cartemquin started to tell me, put this little bug in my ear, like there's this young filmmaker who has some very visionary ideas about a film. Think you would be involved. You should be involved. And I was like, no, I can't do it. I'm starting a business. No. And then Ashley sent me a demo of the film, and I ended up sending her paragraphs of notes, which means that obviously I'm invested already. Finally, I decided to join the team as a producer. And 3.5 years later, here we are.
Wonderful. So, Ashley, I don't know if we have the Unapologetic trailer here. Ladies, can one of you or both of you walk us through what we'll be seeing in this clip, and we're about to play it shortly?
This actually is the trailer.
Oh,
this is the clip.
Yeah, I got you. We were going to let it go off real smooth, Morgan.
Here, Ashley, can you explain what's going on in this clip right before we show it, please?
Yes, so this is about a 2-minute excerpt from the film following one of the Chicago Police Board hearings that has the voices of now Mayor Lloyd Lightfoot and former Mayor Ron Emanuel, and kind of just talks about the way policing and accountability has happened in the city over the past many, many years.
Wonderful. So let's cue the clip. I watched it. It gave me chills. I'm so excited. Cue the clip. Let's play it.
I am Rakia Lloyd. 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 I am Rakia Lloyd.
Like 27,000 complaints filed, and only 80 of them result in any type of like discipline out of 27,000. How I see it is that when we do act civil and expect a response and don't get it, so next time we're gonna be as nice.
Only 3% of officers that have complaints against them end up getting disciplined.
More than 99% of the thousands of misconduct complaints, no disciplinary action was ever taken.
Young people have attempted to impose upon me, as president of the police board, a power that I don't possess. They want any police officer who kills an African American to be fired, stripped of their pension, without any due process, any investigation. There's clearly a role to play for protests. Some of the issues that we're talking about today related to the Chicago Police Department wouldn't be happening without people being out in the street. But there's a time and a place for everything. It's easy to yell and scream and protest. What's more complicated is to work towards actual solutions that improve the quality of people's lives.
I believe the men and women of the police department who are professionally dedicated to meeting the public safety of their residents. But we've got to be also conscious of the fact what the world around them very quickly got changed. They don't think they get a fair shake. But we want our officers to know that their leadership has their back to do the job that we hired them to do.
Powerful stuff. Gave me chills again. And ladies, I mean, I kind of have a clue how hard you've worked over the past 4 years. I said a clue because nobody truly knows how much work you two ladies have put into this film. Ashley and Morgan, real quick, Black women and the LGBTQ community, it seems like they are always the faces that we often see on the front lines of protest and organizing around the Black Lives Matter movement. Have you seen any other filmmakers center stories around them, ladies?
Okay, I guess you want me to take this question. Okay. I mean, I don't think on this level that I've seen a film that centers them so specifically. I know in the film Who Streets that focuses on the Ferguson uprising, there is a discussion around one of the young Black women organizers in that piece, and she's also a young queer Black woman. But yeah, that was probably the impetus. You know, these were the voices that I was seeing in the community that as I started filming with my protagonists, we're doing so much of the legwork and the hard work of uplifting the community. And so I wanted to reflect that in the media landscape, not just in what I was seeing in the real world.
Yeah, I would just like to add that, in Black social political movements, we're so used to seeing Black cisgendered heterosexual men at the forefront of it. We often give them a lot of credit, often too much credit, and the voices of women and queer folk are often silenced, muted, pushed to the side, and their contributions are rarely recorded as they should be. So this film is an opportunity to really flip that narrative on its head and say, and recognize who is doing the work, who's on the ground, versus, the few men who have claimed to be the leaders or the voices of the movement for Black lives.
Right. So, and once again, I'll go back to, I've kind of witnessed you guys work on you ladies work on this film for quite some time. It's been almost 4 years. Ladies, just let us know what was the process like in creating this film. A lot of people don't know how documentaries work. There's some serious time that goes into them. Like, time has to pass over to tell a story. Just go through that, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think a major barrier in the progression of this film was first to just get funding to be able to afford to, shoot the film, pay salaries on the film. And it wasn't really until we started to get more institutional backing and working with Cartemquin that folks started to invest in that way. So that was probably like, the first couple of years I was borrowing and stealing as much as I could to shoot the film and to get rentals and everything for the low. And then after that, it was really just about, doing rough cuts and cutting. I've never cut together a feature length film. We had over 100 hours of footage. And so once we were able to get that funding in this past year, we were able to sit down, every day as a team in the cutting room. And it went pretty fast after that, but it just took a while. But I'm glad it did, because I think it allowed to show the growth of these two women over the course of 4.5 years.
Yeah, I have to give credit to Ashley because, when you're a young Black woman filmmaker, first-time filmmaker, nobody wants to fund you. So she may be credited as the producer-director, but she was also the cinematographer. Sometimes she did the sound, sometimes she edited. Black women, sometimes we just got to get it done ourselves. But that's things take a little bit longer when you have to play so many different roles, you know what I mean? And then not only that, with trying to film a movement and trying to film organizers, there's a lot of trust that you have to build. So even the process of finding participants who are willing to put their narrative out there when we know that they are at risk of being surveilled and things like that. There's all this fear around government surveillance. It takes a long time to earn that trust and for all the pieces to fall into place.
Yeah, most definitely. People in these streets are camera shy. People don't want to be filmed. And now I think I have some questions that we'll go ahead and invite Elijah back into the discussion here. This is a question I think applies to everybody. What do you guys hope viewers will walk away with after seeing your work for the first time? Elijah, if you'd like to start out.
Yes. Well, I have to obviously acknowledge Morgan and Ashley. Hi, friends. It's nice to see you in the virtual world. What do I hope people take away? I think as a filmmaker, something that I'm always hopeful and striving for is to just make people think a little bit more about the ways in which our identity can inspire us to take action and really be brave. And so I think Good Enough is, like I said before, a portrait of chosen family. And I hope people feel joyful, and I hope people, really celebrate the people that are in their lives and give them their roses while they can.
Most definitely. Ashley, what do you hope people take away after seeing this documentary?
I hope that folks understand, especially in this current moment of unrest that we're seeing around Black lives, that, there's room for everybody. You don't have to come already with being a perfect orator or having a trained background to have a place in this work. For me, I knew that I had this skill as a filmmaker, and I saw the injustices that were happening in Chicago. Janae, one of our protagonists, she's a PhD candidate, and Bella is an amazing orator and spoken word artist. There's so much room for folks in this movement, for women and femme voices in this movement. And I just hope that people can see an entry point, and that young Black women and femmes can just see themselves in this story and feel empowered.
I hope that young people see this story and get civically engaged. I mean, Bella Boz and Janae Bonsu are 23, 24, 25-ish when this film is being shot. So I think it's really saying to young people you don't have to wait to get involved. You can make a difference in this world. And to those who may not quite understand the movement for Black lives, because there's so many different media narratives, I hope this really peels back the layers to show people that these are young people who live this work. This is not something that they put on and take off when they feel like it. And I think this film is really special because it shows the inner motivations of the young people who have helped to transform this city.
Okay, and I'll ask the panel, you guys are all creatives and you all have active voices. What stories do you guys believe are constantly being overlooked the most in media, maybe even film and television, and why? Please, I guess we'll start off with Morgan this time.
What's being overlooked?
Yeah.
I mean, clearly all of us, because we've had to take on the mantle and say, look, we'll tell our own stories. In OPV, I feel like y'all are so much on the forefront of this. I mean, we watch and admire everything that you do. When I want to think about what's next, I look at what OTV does because they do it at the highest quality. And it's also saying that we don't necessarily need the permission of these big networks. Like, we don't need to go to Hollywood. Okay, if that avenue is there, then cool. But if not, I'm going to create the space myself. So,
yes.
Right. I'm like, I disagree. I don't have anything to add.
Elijah, did you have anything to add? He did. He said,
yeah, absolutely. I always got something to add. Remember, I'm the messy one. So yes, I think that specifically within the film and television era, we talk about this a lot over at OTV. Thank you so much, Morgan, for uplifting the work that we're doing. We really out here trying, and we are in this game together. And I think that Hollywood right now has been and is in a diversity boom. I don't like the term, but it's also the truth, right? We have the most representation that we've ever seen ever in life. And that's the problem, right? And I think that when we are looking at narratives that continue to get lost, it's specifically the narratives of Black trans women, specifically the narratives of Black women and Black non-binary people that I think need more space to grow and understand how to even engage with this type of media. And there's just not a lot of opportunities. And so with OTV, we really are trying to make sure that we're empowering people to not only own their own stories, but also negotiate in which ways they want to actually share them. And I think that is something that is really important. Oh, look, I'm going the wrong way on my hair. I'm like, wait, this is the right way.
Gotta get that part right.
Right. I was really inspired by Normani today.
Yes.
So, and Elijah, I'm happy I got you talking because I got another one for you. Now, one could say that there is more representation now for Black femme, and LGBTQ plus community now versus when you were growing up. Could you say why or why not that is? Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I think that that is very layered and it brings up a lot of emotions for me. So I'm going to try to be clear with my response. I think that, yes, there is a lot of more representation in the media. And also, I think that there is more room to accurately represent specific narratives that are still left out of these conversations. And so it's not enough to just cast Black people or throw a Black trans person in a show. We need to fully develop out their narratives. We need to create worlds in which they are thriving and they have joy and they have nuance within their lives, because I think the challenge when we don't do that is we distill these particular identities, Black women, Black trans people, Black non-binary people, to the people who are, losing their lives, right, on the streets. And that's all we see, right? And there's so much more to that narrative. And so I think over at OTV, what we're trying to do is revolutionize the way people have considered TV to be this medium that has to be cis and white and heteronormative, because we know that those shows are boring.
Yeah, I have to add on to that. A lot of times in Hollywood, and representation on television, we've seen Black people, the LGBTQ plus community being added to shows kind of as an accessory, or just like, oh, a cast of all white people, and then let's throw in a Black girlfriend or throw in a Black, whatever, just to say like we checked that box. But now we need well-rounded representation where characters have depth. We're not just throwing in a gay character so they can come on the show and make shady jokes, but we're saying, can that person also have a storyline? Can we see them achieve things, and can we see them be messy? Can we see their journey? So that's what we're looking for in representation. And even with my work with the tribe, people want us to only cover the squeaky clean aspects of Black Chicago and get upset when we cover drill or, the queer community, whoever. And it's just like, y'all, we gotta try to get to the whole like, who everybody is, just because we ignore a story doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So yeah.
And that's a great point. I wanted to get Ashley's take on this. Actually transitions to my next question perfectly. Why is it important for marginalized groups to tell their own stories? Please.
Dang, I had a shady comment. I was gonna drop it at the end. Like,
go ahead.
We tried to have representation in politics with Lloyd Lightfoot, and you see where we are. But I'm gonna just add that in real quick. Maybe okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. Can you ask your question one more time? I just had to drop that.
No problem. So we're talking about marginalized peoples.
Yes.
Okay.
Not Lori Lightfoot.
Right. We're talking about
we lost Rom J.
Why is it important, guys, to tell marginalized groups to tell their own stories?
Yeah, I mean, I'm much in the same vein of what we already been talking about. We have to have an expansive understanding of marginalized voices and people in this landscape beyond just what is being given to us by white gatekeepers. I think people really, as someone who's about to go into distribution and has kind of been experiencing it lightly as we've been preparing the film, I've noticed that there are these gatekeepers that really decide ultimately if they do or do not like a film, what platform it's going to go on and how it will be exhibited. And that's why platforms like OTV are so important, because these are the people that are shaping our media and TV landscapes. And if we're not including stories, the stories are there. There are Black creators, there are POC creators, there are LGBTQ creators that are making this content. It's just not being bought, or it's being extremely undersold. We just saw with Michaela Coel with I May Assure You, the ways in which she had to speak up for herself when Netflix tried to take her entire intellectual property. And so I just think the stories are already there. It's like we have to really change this idea of the distribution landscape and who's deciding what stories make it through the door.
I'm so happy that you said that. I want to add one quick thing about that, because, what's so interesting, I think that's so powerful, what you're talking about, and specifically as it relates to the artist. I think that what has happened with these gatekeepers is that like the artists have lost control of like where their work goes. And what is so powerful, I think, about, prioritizing artist-centric television and media in general is that we now get to see who media is created for and who is consuming it. And we can call it out when, like you said, Michaela's like, I'm sorry, you want to take my whole life and do what with it? Like, absolutely not. Like, that's not something that I'm willing to negotiate. And so I'm so happy that the world is waking up to the fact that, like, these stories, they exist. They have always existed. And so now when we say we're leveling the playing field, it's not like, oh, we want to get in on the deal. It's that, no, we want to abolish all of that and come in and recreate a new system. And we want to sit at the table with you as you redesign it. Period.
So I know Elijah's done talking, guys.
Wait, hold on. Did it freeze for y'all? Because I missed the last thing that Elijah said, though.
Oh, no.
It's just I think, sis. We hear you loud and clear, though.
Okay.
Wonderful. Guys, I've had such a great time. Elijah, you go first. How can people watch and support your projects?
Yes, you can follow me everywhere at Elijah, ELIJAA_, all over the internet. And if you want to see some of the best intersectional content all over the world, tap into a new wave at WeAreO.tv. We just launched a new suite of apps and they looking real cute. Over 50 plus programs for you to fall into.
And real quick, guys, because all you guys are creatives and filmmakers, what have you guys, I just want to know, what have you guys been watching lately? We've all been Netflixing and Huluing and YouTubing. What have you guys been watching during the pandemic, all you creatives?
I've been watching like 90 Day Fiancé. Like I have not been watching healthy television. I will say one of my favorites of the pandemic was Little Fires Everywhere with Kerry Washington. Very solid watch. As well as I mentioned, I May Destroy You, I think is really opening up a lot of conversations about how we talk about rape and sexual assault in TV, in film.
I love that. That's a good one. What have I been watching? Okay, well, I've been with my nibbling for the past month. So we've been watching their 9-year-old, and we've been watching Avatar, The Last Airbender, which is on Netflix, which is taking me all the way back to my childhood, and it's so lit. And then I've also been watching Moesha, which is problematic, but also still really good. So you know what? Let's talk about it on Twitter.
Elijah, I've been binge watching Moesha, so me and you are there together. What have you been up to? What have you been watching in your spare time?
To be honest, y'all, between running the tribe and Unapologetic, I've been watching the state of our city government crumble. So that is
that's a different type of TV show.
That's
24/7 live stream.
It never ends, unfortunately.
So you can catch Unapologetic and get more information about that film at unapologeticfilm.com. Is that correct, ladies?
That is correct, yes. Tickets are there for both Blackstar. We'll be holding an outdoor physically distant preview next week on Friday. And we have a bunch of other, at the Museum of Science and Industry. So we only got 100 spots. So, run on over there if you want one. But we have more festivals and virtual events coming up as well.
100 spots for Unapologetic. And y'all, I'm telling you right now, the Johnson family is going to claim those quickly. So there's not really
on the friends and family list. So you good.
Not really 100 slots. Elijah, thank you so much for joining us. Ashley, Mo, as always, a pleasure, ladies. Thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate all of you guys, our panel. What a wonderful panel.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
All right, so this is Rome J, your host of Real Chicago. Thank you again for joining us tonight. If you have any questions about the show or want to reach out to us, please hit us up at connect@thetribe.com. You can find me on Twitter at @TheRomeJ_ and on Instagram at @RomeJ_TV. We'll catch y'all next Thursday. Stay real, stay safe, Chicago. Peace.